Aloha and welcome to Xerion Training. This is part 2 of test 2, which is General Corrective Work Order and Tasks for Foreman only. The items 1 through 8 were already completed in the previous training. We will begin at step 9 and follow along until we are complete. First, we're going to set plan time and submit. I'm going to open up the work order that we were working on in the previous video, and I'm going to scroll down to where it says planned hours in the labor field. Let's presume that we want to set an expectation, which is the purpose of this field, that the work should take 5 hours per person. I have input 5 hours in each field, and now I am going to submit. You'll notice that my status here has moved to assigned. Going to my list, number 10, navigate to task list, find the task to start work on your previously created work order and execute the task. To do that, you go into the work order, go to Home, Tasks, and on the task list you will see that item. If you notice, I have under task, it tells me what I need to do, which is to start work. It also tells me my status, as well as has a link, which is here. And the way I know that's a link is because it's underlined, and because the little hand, my cursor, turns into a hand that points. And that tells me that we can click and link into that work order. So I just did that, and I am right back here. Okay? So now I'm going to click right here to perform that task to start work. That task is simply for the technicians and those assigned to the work order to acknowledge that they have seen the work order, understand it, and don't have any issues with it. Doing so provides the foreman valuable information that his technician has indeed looked at a work order. Next, we're going to put the work order on hold. Now to do that, we must first type in a comment here. I already typed this one here. Maybe we could elaborate on it. Waiting for parts will be here on 5/15. Okay? Alright. And once I have a comment in here, I can then click on hold. If I do not have a comment here, the system will not allow me to put the work order on hold. So there we go. It is now on hold status. And to put it back into action or in progress, I would simply click resume work. Okay, next we have the task of inputting labor hours and date, then ending work. So I'm going to go down here to where I set my plan time, and I have these boxes for actual hours. It is there where we put the true amount of time we worked, rounded to the nearest 30 minutes. So I'm going to put David Lau at 4 hours, and I'm going to put Roland at 4.5 hours. I also am required to put the date of labor. That is the day in which the labor took place. I can use the calendar. Let's presume it was the 28th. Notice in the calendar I have a couple of drop-down lists that give me the months and the years. I can also toggle to different months using these arrows. Okay, so I'm going to click close here. There's my date. Notice I also have a button here that as I hover over it says now. That, if I click it, which I'm going to do right now, gives me the date and time of right now. So 4:29 at 11:42 a.m. is what it put in there. The time does not matter. What is important is the date is correct. Okay? So with the actual hours of labor and the date when it occurred in the work order, we are now ready to end work. To do that, we go to the button here for end work and click on it. Okay, that puts me in another status and allows the foreman to review the work. So we just did input labor hours and date, then end work. Now, as a foreman, I am going to reject the work and add notes as to why I rejected it. This box here for note is how you do that. So I could say, this was not done correctly. Please pay more attention and clean better. For example, it could be anything. And I have this button down here that as a foreman I can use to reject the work. And what this does is it kicks the work order back to the previous status of work in progress and drops the note in with it. Okay? Now, if I am the technician, I look at this, I say, oh, he's right, I spend an extra hour on it and it's the same day, I would adjust my time and would click end work. If it was a different day, you would need to have a separate labor line for that new day. Okay? So looking at our list, we corrected the work deficiency, pretending, and we added a note, and then we adjusted our time and clicked end work. We are now on the last item, and that is to navigate to the task list and approve the work for this work order. So as we did before, we will go to Home, top menu, Tasks from the side menu, and click OK to load our list. And then I can click here to get into that. You'll notice it's in a review work. It has a review work task and the status is work finished. Okay? So if I click that, it gets me back into the work order, and this time, rather than rejecting it, I'm going to be nice to my technician and I will approve the work order. That is the last step. I just want to point out that by doing that, by executing that task, it removed the task from my task list, meaning I don't have to look at it anymore. The system is satisfied that I did what it wants me to do on that work order. That concludes our training. We have run through items 9 through 16 as part 2 to test 2. We'll see you next time. Thank you.